The Texas sun doesn't rise, it attacks. By 7 a.m., the light over Cedar Ridge burned like it was trying to cook the asphalt. Cicadas buzzed in the mesquite trees, and the air shimmered with that dry, angry heat only Texans know. My driveway smelled like soap and gasoline, the sacred scent of my Saturday ritual. I was barefoot, half awake and half proud, rinsing off my black Dodge Challenger the Beast, 4,000 pounds of pure American thunder. My hands moved by instinct. Circular strokes, microfiber towel, rinse, repeat. The way my granddad taught me when I was 12. He used to say, if it ain't loud enough to scare the crows, it ain't worth polishing. That old man built oil rigs with his hands. He didn't believe in silence, and neither do I. But Karen Freeman? She believed silence was a commandment. Her voice sliced through the morning air before I even saw her. Samuel Michaels. The way she stretched my name out made it sound like a federal offense. I didn't need to look up. Only one person in this neighborhood used all 3 syllables like they were summoning Judgment Day. Karen Freeman, self-anointed queen of the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association, was on the march visor, glinting, lips tight, clipboard clutched like a Bible. Behind her trailed her teenage son, Kyle, all elbows and attitude, kicking rocks like he was allergic to sunlight. I could already feel the argument forming in the heat. She always came armed with the same weapons: bylaws, gossip, and volume. I turned down the hose not because I wanted to, but because I knew she'd start shouting about water usage if I didn't. "Morning, Karen," I said, voice flat. "Beautiful day to mind your own business." She ignored the greeting, jaw clenched. "Samuel, this car violates every principle of neighborhood harmony." The noise, the fumes, the image. She waved toward my driveway like she was unveiling a crime scene completely inappropriate for a family community. "Family community?" I said, glancing around at the empty cul-de-sac. "Karen, the closest thing to a kid here is your cat. You let him use my flower bed like a litter box, remember?" Her nostrils flared. "Don't get smart." "Too late," I said. "Already am." The conversation drew a few blinds, twitching. "Mrs." Ellison across the street peeked out through her curtains, pretending to water plants she hadn't touched in a month. Even the mailman slowed his cart, trying not to get caught watching. Cedar Ridge was built for drama, and Karen delivered weekly. Karen shifted her phone in her hand, recording, of course. The little red light blinked. "I'm documenting violations for the newsletter," she said with smug precision. Section 14C. All vehicles must remain garaged when not in active transit. Yours has been outside all morning. I raised an eyebrow. "You see this water hose? These bubbles? I'm actively maintaining it. Unless washing a car is now a criminal offense, I'm still within your precious Section 14C. Her voice climbed an octave. "It's about noise, Samuel. That engine rattles my sunroom windows every time you start it." "That's not rattling," I said. "That's horsepower echoing through the hollow soul of suburbia." Her sunglasses reflected me like a mirror, sweaty, shirtless, grinning. It probably infuriated her more. "You think this is funny?" "No, Karen," I said calmly. "I think it's Texas." She stepped closer. I could smell the citrus lotion she wore, sharp, sterile, expensive. The kind of scent that pretends to be clean but hides the rot underneath. "I'll be taking this to the board," she warned. "You'll be fined. You'll learn to respect order around here." "I read your order," I replied, "twice. You're quoting bylaws like scripture, but you're skipping the verse about freedom. You don't get to define freedom." She snapped. "That's what's funny," I said softly. "Neither do you." Her face tightened like wet concrete drying in the sun. I could almost hear it crack. Behind her, Kyle shifted from foot to foot. The kid was trying to look invisible. His headphones hung around his neck, and I caught the faint bass of some angry rap song leaking out. But his eyes, those teenage, reckless eyes, stayed fixed on my car. It wasn't admiration. It was something else. Curiosity, maybe. Possession. The kind of look you see in people who've never earned something and want to skip the part where they should. "Mom, he muttered. "It's just a car." "Quiet, Kyle," she hissed, not even glancing at him. "Yeah," I said. "Listen to your mom. She's building an empire, one citation at a time." That finally broke her. She jabbed a finger at me. "You think you can talk to me like that? I run this neighborhood." I dropped the hose, the water slapping against the concrete, steam rising. "That's the problem, Karen. You think you do." Her jaw worked like she was chewing rocks. She wanted to scream, to swing, to call the cops, probably all three, but she held it in. Barely. "You'll regret this," she spat. "Mark my words." "Oh, I mark 'em," I said, smiling. "Every Saturday, right here on the driveway." She turned on her heel, muttering curses that didn't fit her church lady voice, and stormed back down the street. Kyle lingered, staring at me for one last loaded second before jogging after her. I didn't know it then, but that look would be the spark that lit everything on fire. The rest of the morning settled into a strange quiet, the kind of silence that hums alive, waiting. I went back to detailing, but my focus drifted. I caught myself glancing down the street every few minutes. No sign of Karen. No sign of Kyle. Just the occasional gust of hot wind carrying dust and the faint smell of mesquite from the hill beyond the cul-de-sac. The Challenger shone like black glass. Every reflection, sky, trees, my own face was perfect. I circled the car slowly, inspecting each line like it was a living thing. That machine was my escape. My inheritance and my therapy rolled into one. When I turned the key, I felt alive. And maybe that was what she hated most. Some people despise freedom because it reminds them they don't have any. I finished drying the car, polished the rims, and leaned against the hood, staring out across the sleepy Texas suburb. Perfect lawns, identical houses, fake smiles, real tension. Cedar Ridge wasn't a neighborhood, it was a powder keg with mailboxes. I spotted movement near the corner again. Kyle, sitting on his bike, pretending to scroll his phone but occasionally glancing up. I waved my towel once. He looked away quick, guilty, like a kid caught stealing glances at something forbidden. Part of me wanted to yell at him, tell him to go home, to stop watching me like I was a YouTube video playing live. But another part of me, maybe the older, more tired part, just sighed. The kid looked lost. And if I'd learned anything in life, it's that lost people eventually crash into something. Or someone. I turned back to my garage. Inside, everything was lined up like a surgical table. Tools, oils, rags, rows of wax and polish. It was a temple, and the beast was the altar. The keypad sat on the outer wall, gray, sun-bleached, a relic from when the house was built 15 years ago. I'd been meaning to replace it for months. Instead, I just kept using the same lazy code, 9120080, my granddad's old workshop address. A habit wrapped in sentimentality and stupidity. I punched it in. The motor whirred. The door rolled up slow, metal groaning. I backed the Challenger in, engine low and throaty, echoing off the garage walls. It was the sound of a lion going back to sleep. Inside, the air was cooler, still carrying that faint mix of dust, leather, and grease. I killed the ignition, the silence rushing back like a wave. My ears rang from the sudden absence of power. I smiled, patting the steering wheel. "Good girl," I muttered. "You earned your rest." In the mudroom, the wooden rack waited 4 hooks, 4 keys. My house, my mailbox, my workshop, and my pride, the Challenger fob. Heavy, chrome logo, gleaming. I hung it there without a second thought. Second hook from the left. Always the same. Always routine. That's how comfort kills you, not with mistakes, but with patterns. I shut the door. Didn't lock the deadbolt. Another lazy habit. The kind that doesn't bite until it's too late. The house was quiet now. Shadows long across the kitchen tile. Outside, a lawnmower droned somewhere in the distance, faint, steady, almost soothing. If I'd looked out the front window, I might have seen him again. Kyle, pedaling slow past my driveway, glancing once toward the keypad, watching the numbers I pressed earlier, mouthing them like a secret. But I didn't look. I was already making coffee, scrolling my phone, thinking about lunch and football, and nothing dangerous. The world still felt normal. That's the funny thing about trouble in Texas. It doesn't sneak up on you. It parks itself right in your driveway, smiles, and waits until you stop paying attention. That afternoon, the Challenger sat inside the garage, clean and gleaming, the smell of wax still thick in the air. I stood at the kitchen window, looking out toward the setting sun bleeding over the rooftops, and for the first time in a long while, I felt content. And contentment is just another word for unarmed. That was the last quiet day Cedar Ridge ever had. Because while I slept that night, the storm I'd been pretending not to feel was already moving. It had sneakers on, teenage hands, and my garage code memorized, and when it came, it wouldn't knock. The night air in Cedar Ridge was thick and still, the kind of silence that feels heavy on your chest. Texas nights can fool you like that, warm, peaceful, like the world's asleep. But under that calm, trouble brews fast. I'd fallen asleep on the couch, the TV humming low, the smell of car wax still faint on my hands. The Challenger slept in the garage, spotless, resting. Then the phone buzzed. Not the gentle notification kind, the violent, angry vibration that means something's gone terribly wrong. My heart kicked before my brain did. I grabbed it off the table, eyes half blind from sleep, and there it was, the message in red that no car owner ever wants to see. Engine started, Dodge Challenger in motion. For a moment, my brain refused to believe it. I blinked hard, stared at the screen again. The map showed a moving dot my car. The icon crawled down Willow Bend Road, turning west toward the main highway. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't possible. It was happening. I was on my feet in seconds. My pulse hammered in my ears. The house felt too small, the air too hot. Every instinct screamed, "Get outside, now!" I yanked open the side door to the garage, the one I hadn't locked. The smell of rubber and oil hit me like betrayal. The space was empty. Just tire marks on the concrete and an open garage door letting in the night. My heart dropped through the floor. They'd taken her. The silence that followed was unbearable. The crickets outside, the faint hum of a transformer, all of it felt amplified. I stepped into the driveway barefoot, staring at the open door like a crime scene. My beast, my pride, my freedom gone in the night like a whisper, and then rage hit. Hot, electric, volcanic. I bolted back inside, phone shaking in my hand. My fingers fumbled over the screen as I hit 911. Tree County Dispatch. "What's your emergency?" "My car's been stolen," I said, my voice too fast. "It's a black Dodge Challenger, license plate 3, BA7. I've got GPS tracking right now. I can see it moving west on County Road 12. "All right, sir, calm down. Can you confirm your name and address?" "Sam Michaels, 415 Cedar Ridge. I'm watching it right now. It's going 60, no, 70. He's speeding up." The operator's calm voice didn't match my heartbeat. "Stay on the line, Mr. Michaels. We've got patrol units near County 12. Keep me updated on the direction." I moved to the living room window, staring out into the darkness like I could somehow see the trail of my car from here. My hand clenched around the phone, knuckles white. "How long ago was the vehicle taken?" "Maybe 5 minutes," I said, voice cracking. "They used my garage. I didn't hear a damn thing." "Do you suspect anyone?" And then a flash, a face, a smirk, a kid leaning on a bike under the Texas sun. Kyle. I felt the name before I said it. "There's this kid," I said slowly. "Neighbor's son, 16. He saw my garage code earlier today." The operator typed fast. "Name?" "Kyle Freeman. His mom's the HOA president." Silence, then a pause that said she knew exactly who Karen Freeman was. "Copy that. Units are in pursuit. Somewhere in the distance, faint at first, but growing fast, I heard it, the low growl of sirens, the kind that start miles away and crawl into your bones. I turned on my laptop, hands still trembling, pulling up the vehicle tracker on a larger screen. There it was, my Challenger moving at 98 miles per hour down the northbound lane, the digital trail blinking every few seconds as it updated. I whispered to myself, "Don't you dare wreck her." But the kid behind the wheel didn't hear that prayer. The dispatcher's voice crackled through. "Mr. Michaels, we've got visual confirmation. Officers are behind your vehicle near the gas station at Route 8. Suspect's not stopping." I sank onto the couch, every muscle tight. "Jesus," I muttered. "He's running." "Sir, please stay at your residence. Do not attempt to intervene." As if I could. My car, the one I'd rebuilt bolt by bolt, was now tearing through the night with a teenager and a death wish at the wheel. I opened another app, the live police scanner. The feed came alive with rapid chatter. Unit 23, suspect vehicle failing to yield. Speed estimated at 105, black Dodge Challenger, partial plate 3BA, requesting air support. Air 1 lifting from county base. I pressed the phone tighter to my ear. Air 1, the helicopter. This was no joyride anymore, it was a full-blown pursuit. Out there, somewhere over the plains, a chopper blade cut through the Texas sky. I could almost hear it through the static, the heavy, rhythmic whump, whump, whump of Air 1's rotors. The operator kept talking, but I'd already drifted into the live news feed. Channel 7 had broken the story. The headline, "High-speed chase through Cedar Ridge black sports car evading police." And there she was, my beast on live TV. From a helicopter camera, grainy but unmistakable, I saw her. The black shimmer, the custom hood stripe, the exact pattern I'd waxed that morning, she looked beautiful and broken at the same time, screaming down the highway like a wild horse let loose. I felt sick. It wasn't just a car anymore, it was my life in motion, being shredded on asphalt. The newscaster's voice barely kept up. "We are now following a dangerous pursuit on Highway 12. Suspect vehicle reportedly stolen, speeds exceeding 120 miles per hour. They cut to the chopper feed. The Challenger swerved past a semi, barely missing its bumper. Sparks flew as tires clipped the curb. I muttered under my breath, "Kid, you don't even know how to handle her." Then something worse. The car veered off the main road toward the unfinished development zone near Lake Travis. That area was a maze of half-built homes, open trenches, and scaffolding death waiting in concrete form. The scanner voice barked, "All units! Suspect entering construction site. Air 1 maintaining visual ground units hold perimeter." On the screen, dust clouds rose around her. My Challenger fishtailed across the dirt, headlights bouncing, body rocking with every impact. I gripped the edge of the table so hard my fingers hurt. She wasn't built for this. None of this. "Pull over," I whispered, though no one could hear. "You'll kill her. You'll kill yourself." The camera zoomed. Through the windshield glare, I could almost make out his silhouette hands gripping the wheel, head darting like a trapped animal. It had to be Kyle. Too small, too frantic to be anyone else. Then came the sound that made my stomach twist, the hollow bang of something metal hitting metal. The car scraped a rebar frame, sparks showering like fireworks. She kept going, tires screaming, but now I could see the damage, a long, ugly gash running along the passenger side. I actually stood up, pacing. "That's my car, damn it! My car!" Dave, my buddy, called right then. "Sam, are you seeing this?" "Dude, Channel 7's blowing up." "I'm watching," I said. "It's him, Karen's kid." "No way. The HOA Karen?" The one and only. On TV, the camera followed the Challenger bursting through a chain-link gate, pieces of wire whipping across the hood. The sirens caught up, flashing red and blue strobes cutting through dust. I'd never hated beauty and chaos at the same time until that moment. Then, silence. The feed glitched for a second. My heart stopped. When it came back, the camera showed open fields. The Challenger was gone from the frame. The reporter's voice cracked with adrenaline. "We've lost visual. Air 1 searching. Suspect may have entered residential streets." I slammed my palm on the table. "He's heading back this way." "Back where?" Dave asked. "Home." I pulled up the GPS map again, and sure enough, the dot had turned looping south toward Cedar Ridge. He wasn't escaping. He was coming back. The sirens grew louder again, closer. The faint helicopter thump rolled like thunder above the rooftops. I stepped outside, barefoot on the porch, phone still in my hand. The sky was alive, red strobes bouncing off windows, searchlights sweeping across the treetops. Then I saw it far down the street, two beams of headlights slicing through the dark, coming fast. It was the Beast, my Challenger, screaming down the cul-de-sac. The sound tore through the neighborhood, that unmistakable roar shaking the air. It was like hearing your own voice screaming from someone else's throat. I froze. My throat went dry. "Don't do it, kid. Don't." But he didn't slow. The car fish-tailed once, clipped the curb, and kept going straight toward the park at the end of our street. The oak tree, the one older than the neighborhood itself, stood dead center. The helicopter light caught it all in white glare, the black blur of the Challenger, the spinning tires, the desperate overcorrection. Then came the sound, a horrible, final crunch. Steel met wood. The front end folded like paper. A plume of smoke erupted. The Beast was dead. For a heartbeat, the world was silent again. Then the sirens arrived. Officers poured out, guns drawn, flashlights cutting through steam and dust. I stumbled forward, numb. The phone fell from my hand. My feet carried me down the street before I realized I was moving. Neighbors were emerging from their porches, bathrobes, flashlights, whispers. And under the helicopter beam, officers pried open the driver's door. It was him, Kyle Freeman, face pale, shaking, blood at his temple, alive, barely. And just as I thought it couldn't get more surreal, another scream split the night. "Kyle!" Karen Freeman came running barefoot, in her robe, mascara streaked, crying his name. The officer stopped her at the tape, holding her back as she thrashed and wailed. I stood there, staring at the wreck that used to be my pride. The car was gone. The calm was gone. Cedar Ridge would never sleep quiet again. When dawn finally crawled over Cedar Ridge, the sun didn't rise. It dragged itself across the sky like it was ashamed of what it had seen. The oak tree at the end of our street stood split down the middle, a jagged scar running through its trunk like a wound that would never heal. Beneath it, my Challenger, my pride, was now a crumpled animal, steam still curling from the hood. I hadn't slept. The flashing lights stayed burned into my retinas. The air still smelled of fuel and dust. I stood behind the police tape, my shirt damp with sweat and dew, watching as they pulled the last shards of glass from the pavement. The quiet that followed the chaos was heavier than the noise itself. A deputy approached me. "Mr. Michaels?" His voice was polite, cautious, the kind of tone cops use when they're not sure if you're a victim or a suspect. "We're gonna need a statement from you." I nodded, though my throat was dry as sand. "Take whatever you need," I said. I looked at the mangled hood. "Be careful with her." He glanced at the wreck, then back at me. Hell of a machine. Shame about the kid. I looked up sharply. "He's alive?" He hesitated.
"So there's nothing
"Stable, but not talking." The words hit harder than I expected. Stable, not talking. There was relief, sure, but there was also something else. A weight, because I knew this wasn't just a car accident. It was the spark of something bigger. Behind me, a voice cut through the murmur of police radios. "Officer, that's him, Karen." Her voice was raw, cracked, a mix of grief and fury, sharpened into a weapon. She stormed toward the tape, her robe gone, now dressed like she meant business. Blazer, hair pulled tight, face streaked but furious. "You!" she shouted, pointing at me like she was marking a target. "You did this!" Every head turned. Even the paramedics paused. I took one slow breath. "Karen, your son stole my car. He's 16. She screamed. You left it unlocked. You provoked him with your reckless behavior, your arrogance, your noise. I stepped forward, stopping just shy of the tape. Don't rewrite this, Karen. He broke in. He took my keys. He could have killed someone. Her eyes were wild grief, denial, something darker twisting beneath. You could have stopped it. You could have stopped him. And how was I supposed to do that? I snapped. Sit in the garage all night waiting for your kid to commit grand theft? The officer stepped between us. That's enough, folks. Let's keep it civil. But Karen wasn't done. She jabbed a finger in the air. I'm calling my lawyer. And the HOA board. This isn't over. I wanted to laugh. The HOA? After all this? But she wasn't bluffing. She meant it. Because that's what power junkies do. They don't break, they twist. They bend the truth until it fits their story. I turned away before I said something I couldn't take back. The deputy took my arm gently. Let's get that statement, sir. At the station, the fluorescent lights made everything look worse, sterile, unreal. The smell of burnt coffee and floor cleaner filled the air. I sat in a plastic chair, staring at the scratches on my hands. They looked like guilt, even though I knew I'd done nothing wrong. Detective Ramirez entered, a tall man with tired eyes and a voice like gravel. He dropped a folder on the table and sat across from me. Morning, Mr. Michaels. You sleep? I stared at him. Do I look like I slept? He gave a half smile. Fair point. So let's start from the beginning. I told him everything. The confrontation with Karen, the garage, the alert on my phone, the chase, the crash. He didn't interrupt, just nodded occasionally, pen scratching slow and deliberate. When I finished, he leaned back. You got proof the kid saw your code? I don't have proof. I just know he was watching. Ramirez nodded again. The garage keypad? That thing have a camera? No. It's old. Analog. He flipped open a folder. Inside were photos of the crash. The car's front end was a mess of twisted steel. Seeing it like that, frozen, lifeless, made my stomach knot. Good news, he said. We found no signs of forced entry at your house. No broken locks, no smashed windows. Meaning? He met my eyes. Meaning the kid either had a code or someone gave it to him. I froze. Someone gave it to him. The words echoed in my skull. Karen. He closed the folder. We'll know more after the forensics team finishes. You're free to go for now, but stay local. Like I've got anywhere else to be, I muttered. When I stepped outside, the heat hit me like a slap. Texas mornings don't forgive. They burn away the lies fast, leaving only the truth, or what's left of it. News vans were already lined up along Cedar Ridge Drive when I got back. Microphones, cameras, reporters shouting questions like vultures circling a carcass. Mr. Michaels, is it true your car was involved in a pursuit? Do you know the suspect personally? Was this an act of negligence? I didn't answer. I just walked past them, jaw tight, through the front gate that still hung open from last night. The garage door was still up. The floor still smelled of burned rubber. Only the silence had changed. It felt heavier, accusing. By noon, the neighborhood chat groups were on fire. I saw screenshots Karen posting long paragraphs about unsafe behavior and negligent ownership. She was turning the story into her weapon. According to her, I was the reckless neighbor who endangered her son. She called it a preventable tragedy. The comments were brutal. Half the neighborhood sided with her out of fear or pity. The other half stayed quiet. Silence the oldest kind of betrayal. I sat at my kitchen table, scrolling through the venom until my thumb hurt. Every lie burned. Every praying for you, Karen, felt like a knife. That's when I noticed something worse. The security footage from my garage, gone. The cloud app showed video file unavailable. Device reset at 11:57 p.m. That was 15 minutes before the theft. My skin went cold. Someone had erased it. And only one person had the motive. I drove straight to the HOA office. Karen was there, of course, standing in front of her desk, like she'd been expecting me. Her face was perfectly composed now, makeup hiding the tears from earlier. Sam, she said coolly, I'd appreciate if you called before barging in. I'd appreciate if you taught your son not to steal, I shot back. She smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. He's a child, traumatized, and you, well. Her gaze drifted toward the bruises on my arm. You seem unstable. I laughed, a bitter sound. Unstable? You're the one forging narratives. Her fingers tapped the desk. Careful with your accusations. Or what? You'll find me? Write me another letter about my garbage bins? I'll sue, she said simply, for defamation, emotional distress, negligent storage of property. I took one slow step forward. You deleted my security footage. Her lips parted just a fraction, just enough. Excuse me? You heard me. My system reset 15 minutes before the theft. You've got the tech guy on the HOA payroll. You think I don't know? Her eyes flickered 1 second of surprise, then back to steel. Conspiracy theories don't suit you, Sam. Go home. I leaned closer, my voice low. You started this war when your kid crossed my line, but I'm gonna finish it. I turned and walked out before I said what I really wanted to. Outside, the sun was blazing white. The asphalt shimmered. My reflection in the HOA's glass window looked older, angrier. For years, I'd stayed quiet, paid my dues, ignored the letters, but something in me had cracked. That afternoon, I drove to town. Straight to Rick DeSoto, lawyer, old friend, and the only man who owed me more favors than he could count. He took one look at me and said, "Hell, Sam, you look like you just wrestled a tornado." "Feels about right," I said, dropping into his chair. "I need to sue the HOA president." He blinked. "Karen Freeman? Yeah. For tampering, slander, maybe fraud. Her son stole my car and now she's trying to bury me." Rick rubbed his beard. "You got proof?" "Not yet," I said. "But I've got motive, timing, and one big question. How the hell did she know my system could be reset remotely?" He leaned back. "You're saying she hacked it?" "I'm saying she planned it." Rick whistled low. "All right, cowboy. I'll start digging. But go easy. These HOA types fight dirty. She'll twist the narrative before the ink dries." I stood up. Let her. I've been quiet too long. When I got home, the street was nearly empty. The police tape was gone. The oak tree had been fenced off, as if they could quarantine the memory. But the neighborhood felt different, cautious, whispering, like everyone was waiting for the next explosion. At dusk, a delivery truck rolled up. The driver handed me a manila envelope. No sender listed. Inside printed photos. My house. My garage. Screenshots from security cameras I didn't own. One of them showed me, shirtless, washing my car the day before. Another Karen standing across the street, filming me. The last photo made my blood run cold. A grainy night shot. Kyle at my keypad, punching in numbers. And right behind him, a woman's silhouette. Karen. That's when it hit me. She hadn't lost control of her son. She'd used him. The perfect pawn. A teenage boy, impulsive, sympathetic, the ideal scapegoat for whatever she wanted to destroy. And I'd walked right into it. I grabbed my phone, called Rick again. "We've got her," I said. "Meet me tomorrow. I've got proof." He hesitated. "Sam, listen. I talked to Ramirez. They're already investigating the Freemans, but Karen's playing another angle, says she's the victim of harassment. She's filing an injunction." "Let her," I said. "Tomorrow we go public." Rick exhaled. "You sure you want to poke this bear?" "I'm from Texas," I said. "We don't poke, we shoot straight." That night, I couldn't sleep again. The air buzzed like static. The cicadas screamed in the trees. I sat on the porch, staring at the empty space where my car used to sit. It wasn't about the machine anymore. It was about principle. About the line between order and obsession and how far someone would go to control what they don't own. Karen thought she was cleaning up the neighborhood, but what she'd really done was wake up something worse. Something patient. Something furious. Something that remembers every insult, every lie, every look. The kind of man who doesn't just fight back, he rebuilds. Stronger. And when I do, I thought, she'll finally learn the one rule you can't change in Texas. Don't start a war with the man who built the fence. Morning came in cold gray streaks, dragging light across the wreckage like a confession. The oak tree stood there still, wrapped in yellow tape, and every time I looked at it, I felt that same pit in my chest, grief, anger, and the faintest thread of anticipation. Today wasn't just another day in Cedar Ridge. Today was the day I stopped defending myself and started fighting back. Rick met me in front of the sheriff's department, coffee in one hand, folder in the other. He looked rough, suit rumpled, tie crooked, the look of a man who'd been reading legal documents since midnight. "You sure about this, Sam?" he asked. "Once this goes in, there's no taking it back. She's gonna fight dirty." "She already did," I said. "I'm just finally washing off the mud." We walked through the glass doors together, the air conditioning slapping the heat off our faces. Inside, Sergeant Laura Chen was waiting cool, composed, the same officer who'd handled the crash. Her expression was unreadable, but her tone was warmer than I expected. "Mr. Michaels," she said you had new evidence?" I nodded and handed over the manila envelope. "Everything's in there. And before you open it, Sergeant, I want you to know something. This wasn't an accident. It was a setup." Chen arched an eyebrow. "Go on." I sat down, elbows on the table, leaning forward. The night of the theft, my security feed was wiped 15 minutes before my car was stolen. "You said there was no sign of forced entry. That means someone knew the garage code. I didn't tell anyone, but someone watched me enter it." Chen's pen froze midair. "You're saying," the boy's mother was standing right behind him. I finished. "The photos prove it." Rick slid the first print across the table. Chen's eyes narrowed. The grainy black and white shot showed Kyle at my garage. Keypad. Hood pulled up, head tilted, and just behind him, half hidden by the frame, a woman's outline. Recognizable. Intentional. Karen Freeman. Chen studied the photo for a long moment before speaking. "Where did you get these?" "They showed up at my house," I said. "No, sender. Just a stack of truth someone didn't want buried." Rick added, "We verified the timestamps. They matched the garage motion log within a 3-minute window." Chin exhaled slowly. "All right, let's assume this is real. That still doesn't explain motive." I smiled without humor. "Oh, I can explain motive just fine." That's when I told her about the months of harassment. The HOA citations, the eyesore complaints, the fake noise violations, how Karen had tried to find me for parking in my own driveway, how she'd turned the neighborhood into her personal kingdom. "She didn't want peace," I said. "She wanted control, and when she couldn't control me, she decided to destroy what I loved instead." Chen's face softened just a little. "You think she used her son?" "I think she used everyone." Rick leaned forward. "Sergeant, we're formally requesting an obstruction of justice inquiry into the deletion of Mr. Michaels' security data. The HOA tech contractor has administrative access to local systems, including Sam's." Chen's expression turned sharp again. "That's a serious accusation." Rick's smile was calm, practiced. "So is Grand Theft Auto, Sergeant, but here we are." We waited in silence as Chen stood, gathering the evidence. She didn't say much, just, "Give me a few hours," before she disappeared into the back. I turned to Rick. "You think she'll actually do it?" "She's a cop," he said. "Not a politician. She'll follow the proof." I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling tiles. For the first time in days, I felt something close to relief. Not peace, not yet, but direction. It was like finally seeing the end of a tunnel you'd been crawling through blind. But that calm lasted all of 20 minutes. The doors burst open. Karen Freeman walked in. She looked like she'd stepped off a magazine cover, white suit, hair flawless, expression locked somewhere between fury and panic. Her lawyer, a slick man with a pocket square that cost more than my first car, trailed behind her. "Sergeant Chen," she called, voice sweet as poison, "I understand you've been speaking with Mr. Michaels. I'd like to issue a statement." Chen returned just in time, holding the file. Her eyes flicked between us. "Mrs. Freeman, we're in the middle of an investigation." Then you'll want to hear this, Karen said, sliding into the chair across from me. She didn't even look at me at first, not until the silence got too thick to ignore. Then she smiled. Sam, she said softly, you're making a mistake. I made one already, I said, leaving the garage unlocked. She laughed, brittle and rehearsed. You think this will make people forget what your car did? That my son could have died because of your negligence? My negligence didn't hotwire my garage, I said coldly. Chen cut in. Enough. Mrs. Freeman, your son is underage, but the evidence indicates deliberate entry. Mr. Michaels has provided photographic proof. Her lawyer jumped in fast. Those photos are inadmissible, unverified source, no chain of custody. Rick leaned forward, voice sharp. Funny, you seem to know what's in them already. Karen froze for half a beat. Just long enough. And Chen noticed. Mrs. Freeman, Chen said carefully, how did you know the contents of Mr. Michaels' evidence before I mentioned them? Karen blinked. I assumed, Rick smirked. You didn't assume. You recognized them. The room went still. The hum of the overhead lights sounded deafening. Karen's lips parted, but no sound came out. For the first time since this nightmare began, the power shifted. I could feel it, electric in the air. Chen slid one of the photos onto the table between us. That's you, isn't it? Karen stared at it, the outline, the stance, the unmistakable shape of her designer jacket sleeve. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her lawyer whispered, Don't answer that. She didn't. She just looked at me, eyes dark, voice trembling. You think you've won? You've turned my community against me? I didn't blink. No, Karen. You did that yourself. Chen closed the folder. We'll be contacting you, Mrs. Freeman. Please don't leave town. That was it, the formal end of the conversation. But Karen lingered. As she stood to leave, she leaned close to me, voice barely a whisper. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I met her, gaze, steady. You keep saying that, but every time you lose a little more. Her heels clicked across the tile like gunshots. The door slammed behind her. Rick let out a long breath. Well, he said, that went better than expected. Outside, the news vans had multiplied. The reporters swarmed, their microphones like bayonets. Mr. Michaels! Is it true the HOA president is under investigation? Did she orchestrate the theft? Are you pressing charges? Rick muttered. Welcome to prime time, buddy. I didn't answer them. I just looked straight into one of the cameras, not with anger, not with gloating. Just calm, cold certainty. Sometimes the truth takes a while to warm up, I said. But once it does, it burns through everything. The clip went viral by noon. By evening, the story was everywhere. Local HOA president implicated in car theft scandal. Proof beats power, says victim in viral statement. Neighbors who'd once avoided me now waved when I passed. Some even apologized. But Karen's house, blinds drawn, lights off, looked like a tomb. Her social media went silent. The HOA board announced an emergency leadership review. That night, as the sky went dark over Cedar Ridge, I sat on my porch again, the same spot I'd been when this whole thing started. The cicadas droned, the air smelled like dust and redemption, and somewhere far off, a helicopter hummed faintly, a reminder that even from above, someone had seen it all. Rick called just before midnight. Chen's team traced the data deletion. It came from the HOA's network through her login credentials. I smiled slowly. Proof. Yeah, he said. Proof. The next morning I went to see Chen one last time. The investigation was wrapping. Kyle had confessed to taking the car, but now there was a record, a digital trail leading back to his mother. He said she told him it was a prank. Chen told me. Said she promised no one would get hurt. She was right about that, I said quietly. Except she didn't mean me. She meant him. Chen's eyes softened. You did good, Sam. Not everyone stands up when power leans on them. I didn't do it to be noble, I said. I just don't like bullies, she smiled faintly. That's noble enough. I left the station and drove to the park at the end of the street. The oak tree was still scarred, a pale wound running through the bark. Sunlight spilled across it like forgiveness that hadn't decided whether to stay or go. I stood there a long time, hand on the rough trunk, thinking about the noise, the rage, the lies, and the one truth that had outlasted them all. Proof isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It waits. And when the world's done screaming, it speaks once clear enough to end the argument. As I walked back toward my house, the breeze picked up. Somewhere across the neighborhood, a garage door rumbled open. Maybe someone was starting their engine. Maybe someone was just locking up tighter than they used to. Either way, Cedar Ridge was awake now, and it finally knew who really lived behind the fences. The weeks that followed felt like Texas rain, sudden, hard, and cleansing. Every storm washes something away, and in Cedar Ridge, it wasn't dirt, it was reputation. Karen Freeman vanished from the streets she once ruled. Her white Lexus didn't prowl the cul-de-sacs anymore. No more HOA newsletters, no more friendly reminders taped to mailboxes. Her throne, the HOA board, voted unanimously to suspend her. Pending investigation, the statement read, but everyone knew it was permanent. The neighborhood had turned its back. The whispers carried fast. They said her husband moved out. They said she'd been seen packing boxes late at night. They said justice finally found her address. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just sipped my coffee every morning and let the quiet return to Cedar Ridge, the real kind of quiet. But every time I looked at the oak tree at the end of the street, I was reminded, silence doesn't erase scars. It only teaches you to live with them. 3 weeks later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. When I answered, it was Sergeant Chen. "Mr. Michaels," she said, "the case is closed." Freeman accepted a plea deal. Her son's cooperating, and she's stepping down from all community positions. Thought you'd want to know. For a second, I didn't say anything. Just let the air fill the space where anger used to be. "Thanks, Sergeant. I appreciate it." "There's more," she said. "The DA's recommending Kyle for a youth rehabilitation program instead of juvie. Community service at Cedar Ridge Park." I looked out the window. The oak tree swayed in the wind, its bark still scarred from the crash. "Good," I said softly. "Let him rebuild what he broke." "You did good, Sam," she said before hanging up. Not everyone stands up to people like her. That stuck with me longer than I expected. The next Saturday morning, I woke early. The sun poured down gold and hot across the asphalt. I could smell summer, that sharp, dusty sweetness that always reminded me of my grandpa's workshop. For the first time in months, I opened the garage door. The rumble echoed through the stillness like a heartbeat coming back to life. And there she was, the new one. A 2024 Dodge Challenger R T-Scat Pack, pitch black, mirror shine, the same deep-throated growl when I pressed the ignition. The insurance payout had covered most of it, but I'd gone beyond replacing her. I'd rebuilt her down to the soul. I leaned on the hood and smiled. "Welcome home, beast." I took her out slow, rolling down Willow Creek Lane at 15 miles an hour. The wind caught the edge of my shirt, the engine purring low like a cat that knew its own strength. Neighbors waved genuine this time, even Mrs. Delgado, who used to glare whenever I revved too loud, gave a small nod from her porch. When I reached the end of the street, I parked beside the park gate. Kyle was there, wearing an orange safety vest, picking up trash beneath the oak, his shoulders slumped, head low, every move slow with exhaustion. He saw me, froze for a second, then went back to work. I didn't get out of the car right away. I just watched him for a while. The same kid who'd taken everything from me, now repairing the space where it all went wrong. Life has a way of writing its own poetry when you're patient enough to let it finish the stanza. Finally, I stepped out and walked over. He didn't look up. "Come to gloat?" he muttered. "No," I said. "Came to see if you needed water." He hesitated, then glanced at me. His face was leaner, older somehow. Shame does that to a man, even a young one. "I'm sorry," he said, voice cracking. I nodded. "I know." He stared at the ground. "She said it was just a joke. Said no one would know." "She lied," I said simply. "To both of us." He didn't argue. He just nodded and kept working. Sweat rolled down his temple, landing on the roots of the oak like pennants. As I walked back to the car, something shifted inside me. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt closure. Some battles you fight with your fists. Others, you fight with facts. And facts real, cold, unshakable proof always win in the end. When I got home, Rick was sitting on my porch, 2 beers sweating in his hands. "You see the kid?" he asked. "Yeah." Rick handed me one. "How's it feel?" "Like the world finally stopped spinning," I said. "Or maybe I just started standing still," he chuckled. "You know, for a guy who just took down an HOA president, you sound like a monk," I grinned. "Monks don't drive Challengers." He raised the bottle. "To proof, then." "To proof?" I said, clinking it. "The one thing even power can't fake." That night, I drove out past the edge of town, where the roads open up and the stars fall low enough to touch. Texas highways at midnight have a way of healing you long, empty stretches where the world feels honest again. The engine hummed beneath me, alive, steady. I rolled the windows down, letting the warm air rush in. The sky above was pure velvet, the kind that makes you remember how small you are and how free. I thought about my grandpa, about the lessons he left me. He used to say, "Sam, people will lie. Machines won't. The truth's like torque invisible, but it moves the world." Back then, I thought he was talking about engines. Now I knew better. Somewhere behind me, the lights of Cedar Ridge faded to pinpricks. Ahead, open road. No fences. No HOA rules. Just sky, asphalt, and possibility. The past few months had burned away a lot my car, my patience, my faith in polite suburbia. But what it left behind was harder, cleaner, and truer than anything before. Karen Freeman might have built her world on rules, but I'd built mine on reality. She controlled people with fear. I fought her with facts. And facts, once proven, are indestructible. Proof doesn't ask permission. It doesn't care about status or titles. It just is. And that's power. Real power. When I got home, the streets were quiet. My porch light clicked on automatically, casting a warm glow over the driveway. I parked the beast inside, double-checked the keypad code, a random string of 12 digits this time, and closed the door. Before heading in, I paused, looking at her one last time under the soft garage light. "Guess we made it, huh?" I whispered. Not bad for a couple of survivors. The engine ticked softly as it cooled, like a heartbeat slowing to rest. I turned off the lights and headed inside. The house felt lighter now, not because it was cleaner, but because the weight was gone. On the counter, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time, I smiled before answering. "Sam Michaels," I said. "Air 1, a voice replied, faint static in the background. "We're grounded for now, but we thought you'd want to see this." A picture came through a wide aerial shot of Cedar Ridge at sunrise. The oak tree gleamed gold, the new Challenger parked beneath it like a shadow reborn. Under the image was one line of text, "Proof always lands." I stared at it for a long time, smiling. "Damn right it does." I typed back, "Drinks on me next time you're in town." As I stepped outside to lock the door, the Texas night wrapped around me, warm, infinite, humming with life. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled over the plains. Maybe another storm coming. But I wasn't afraid of storms anymore. Storms wash the dirt away. They remind the world that nothing, not power, not lies, not even pain, lasts forever. Only the truth does. I looked down the street one last time. The oak stood tall again, its roots deep, its scar healing, a testament to survival. And I thought, maybe that's what proof really is, not the evidence that wins a fight, but the thing that survives after it. I whispered into the dark, just for myself. Proof doesn't shout, it endures. Then I closed the door, turned off the light, and let the night take me quiet, steady, and free.